You know this How Money Works guy, this channel? I just had this idea. He put up in one of his recent videos this idea that he's got like 250,000 subscribers. Beta, what's his name? Rick Betas or whatever it is, Betas or Rick has got like 3 or 4 million viewers or something like that. I don't think he's making $1,000 a day. Rick is. He's making $1,000. He's making a lot, but at 3 million, if he cut up his audience in a fraction of about 250,000, I don't think that would make $1,000 a day. And knowing that it's fairly easy to get a sweatshop in India to come in and jack up your views and your subscriptions with fake accounts. It's fairly easy to do if you're using AI intelligence to do it with. So we don't know this How the Money Works guy. We don't know how many of his subscribers are authentic. Is there a way to detect that? And so I would challenge the idea that he's making $1,000 a day. He showed us the information on the screen, but I don't know if I can trust that. And that's the thing is that even if he tells you per day and things like that, and he will have, I mean, if he's doing it right, he will have videos among his group of videos that have false information. Because how are you going to detect plagiarism? That other people are going to copy your content. But on top of that, he's going to have to look to other people who also have 250,000 viewership in the content that they're producing, if it is up to the same quality level, then and they're turning out less money or something like that. It's possible the case that he's completely lying about his own income, and he's using. See, the thing is, and if you're watching this, the thing is if you sit there and you tell people you're making $1,000 a day, they're business financial people, you're doing it to get their attention. You're doing it to get more viewership. You see? And at someday in the game, somebody's going to point their finger at you and say, Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff. This can happen a lot in the business world. It's poker. You're playing poker with us, okay? And we just have to call your bluff. Bernie Madoff. I don't collect any money for my viewership. My viewership isn't going off the course. And I've told the people that are watching my video content that if I ever hit 10K, and this would probably be a good way to just get rid of this, I'll open up another account and put videos on that. In fact, I have several accounts anyhow. If it ever hits 10K, I'm just going to take it and not just take out that video content and do it someplace else. I actually already have an account in place to do that. And you're like, why would you do that? Because unlike you, I'm not like trying to make money off of YouTube. And I don't give a shit about viewership. All I'm trying to do is just influence in a way. I'm trying to get people to get good ideas out there. I am sick as fuck of people in the world trying to make lots of money screwing people with bad information, or information you probably just get from a book anyhow. Replicating it, throwing it all over YouTube, making lots of money, just doing basic sales. I'm just trying to get all those people to kind of like use their brains rather than going out and, you know, and you're probably looking at me and says, well, you're not using your brains because somebody could come in and take you out and blah, 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 blah. And that could happen to anyone. And if I say, if somebody like takes me out and I have like all this video content and there are people out there that have already copied a lot of the video content, downloaded it, put it, stored it away on drives, and something happens to me or whatever, they can pull up that video content. Imagine a news story being done on that and all this information that just leaks out. I'll actually be more, I'll probably have a whole lot more people becoming aware of the stuff that I had or of what I was talking about. That's kind of a silly thing to say, I know, but you know, you can, I don't, nothing will happen, you know. Either something will happen or nothing will happen. Really, the thing is I just want to influence a few people, and then those few people will delegate the influence of other people. See, the problem with the idea of an influencer is you think by telling thousands of people that's going to be effective. If the information and they go around, they listen to enough people, they're probably going to develop the idea that they aren't getting unique, they're not getting thoughtful, they're not getting deep information, they're not getting something that has quality to it. And I don't know if the information I have is of high quality or low quality. I just don't want to edit it because I know about the manipulation of audio and video context and how you can, in plenty of ways, of how you can really give people false and, you know, really bad information. I mean, or just make people think that that you're successful or that you know what you know and all this stuff. A lot of that stuff that you're talking about may be based in truth and all of that, but what would it matter? How much of your audience is actually going to go out and make money that way? And then you're sitting there pointing out to us how much you're making per day. What the fuck doesn't matter? Because the audience is not going to go out there. They're going to lose trust in you. They're going to lose trust in everybody on YouTube. This would be a great way for a corporation to come in and just completely eliminate YouTube, is by setting up a lot of really untrustworthy YouTube channel people, and eventually one by one just completely or to some degree make the whole YouTube community ineffective, because it would be flooded with imposters. YouTube needs to think about that. They also need to think about the authenticating and the validating of the people that are up on YouTube as being either real content providers. See, that's the thing that's going to separate you, people who have credentials, who have experience, separate from people who don't. And the people who are the influencers might actually not have credentials or have a background or things like that. And so why are we taking content from these people? Is their background, where are they getting their, if they're an influencer and taking payola from some company, there's a great potential for them to give bullshit. And that's the reason why I don't trust YouTube news individuals and stuff unless they can prove that they've, you know, people that do reviews on products and things like that, that's okay, but to some degree I'll probably side with a well-established electronic magazine like CNET or Ars Electronica or whatever those guys are, or a big news agency, and you can say, well, I've got these news agencies and they're back in this. I could be bullshitting you. Actually, I am bullshitting you because this stuff is just coming out of my mind as it's going through. It's it's all a matter of common sense and just consideration and stuff. But the reason why we have such a trust problem on the YouTube is that people are so fucking gullible. And I mean, they're they're developing unless you go around and I mean, unless I have enough stuff in what I'm saying for people to like actually believe what I'm saying or to believe that some of it is true, there are things that I've picked up that were probably completely false. I will just tell you right up front, I don't do any research. I'm just pulling junk from what I've saw in documentaries, and I'm giving little pieces here and there and there. I'm expecting you to do the research. So if you're expecting me to sum it up for you, um, you're 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 thinking you're if you're expecting me to do it for you, then it's the same sort of problem I have. Is that I have a tendency to believe everything I read. So it's you see that's the reason why I can't really do. I could spend a lot of time on the research, but then I would have to come up with a way of making money to justify doing the research, and you know, and how many of the people just sit around and like actually do the research or look to other YouTubers that have content. If if that's how it's working, I just told you that one of the methods of detecting plagiarism is putting in fake articles, fake shows. And so if you're pulling your content from other YouTubers and some of those guys are faking some of their content, you're going to be combining fake content in with your truthful content, and they're going to be able to detect it and turn around and sue the fuck out of you. That's what I'm saying. So there's something to fear. The other thing is that the YouTube, the there, if you think there's loyalty in viewership, it's there's more loyalty in viewership, and there's going to be a greater chance. Um, and I'm pointing out to you that I don't research stuff. It's going to really say to you that whether my stuff is truthful or not, it's the caveat of that is that it's not backed. I'm giving you the stuff to go and do the research. I'm not backing it by anything because there's a great potential on this news source on YouTube for error. It's much greater than it is with Wikipedia because there is no, it's not crowdsourced. I don't have a staff of writing people behind me that are going out and doing the research. That would be more reliable, okay? That's the reason why you want to go to an established news source. You don't want to go to YouTube. The YouTube has a greater tendency to be bullshit because you have to guarantee, you have to have people behind you. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. And this whole social media crap and stuff that's happening in the world, that's all a result of not having people back there doing the research, of not having a real solid organization giving the information up. People are going to believe certain YouTube channels, but when it's like an individual or even three people, and you got all these people coming and giving these comments, there's a greater potential to fake that and make it bullshit. And then you're an influencer, but you're a bullshit influencer. See what I'm saying? And YouTube needs to consider that if a corporation wanted to completely falsify or taint their content, their creation of truthful content and stuff, the people that are truthful and legitimate are going to be mixed with the people that are trying to be influencers, are going to be mixed with the corporations that are interested in running YouTube into the ground as a source of legitimate information. See, it's just a method of and the thing to do is, if you're a legitimate information source, is to put false articles into your content and then have lawyers backing it, so that if anybody gets stung by it, you can at least protect yourself and say sorry for that false article, and then give enough of stuff inside the article to prove that they shouldn't have believed it in the first place, like not ever actually having any citation in there of content. When I talk about stuff, I just kind of like, I don't know if this, I heard this, and you know, Fox News does the same thing. What they do is they do this. They say, some people say, and it was an Outfox. Outfox pointed this out. A great way of inserting opinion and making people think that it is actually truth is, some people say. I do it in a different way. Mine is, I think I recall over here. And so what I'm actually doing it a much nicer, and then I'm saying that I don't know really, I'm not certain, okay? But when they say some people say, that's psychologically more more certain. It comes across as sounding more certain, and they use that throughout all of their news stuff. Anytime they need to put something in and they don't have enough news, they'll just inject opinion. They'll start, some people say, and they'll be sitting there interviewing somebody, and if they need to put something in there to kind of challenge them, to kind of nudge them or something, to try to get them to say something that's completely false, or get them to flub up, they'll say, some people say, some people say, some people say, some people say. It's not that some people say, it's that I'm injecting opinion, and I don't want my audience to think that I don't want my audience to think that what I'm saying right now is illegitimate. Okay, I'm doing this to kind of fuck with you, with who I'm interviewing, and so the interviewer, the interviewee, if that ever happens, you can pop up. Wait 1 second, you use the some people say, and that means that's an opinion, right? That would fuck with them, and they would instantly cut you off, and then they say, okay, switch to sensationalist topic. Didn't Britney, and you got Britney Spears, and they kick you off the show because they're trying to keep their viewership up. They're trying to keep all the viewers coming in, because who's important to them? Not their viewership, their advertiser. Their advertiser is more important to them than the viewers. The viewers are important to the advertiser, but they're trying to keep the viewership loyal by keeping them entertained and sucking them in. And until the viewership gets wise, it'll always be this way. I think the government should come in, the FCC should come in and limit the amount of actual advertisement income that like Fox and CNN gets, and then rely all their other money to come from the cable companies, so that they're not basing their content on sensationalism, just trying to keep people watching. Anyhow.